and welcome to LPS Board Preview. I'm Communications Director Mindy Burback.
And I'm Don Mayhew, Lincoln Board of Education member. We started this Facebook program to share what's happening at Lincoln Public Schools and answer your questions.
If you do have any questions about today's topic, enter them in the comments and we'll try to answer them during a future show.
Tuesday, during the Board of Education regular meeting, we will hear an update about athletics this last school year. Joining me today to talk more is our Director of Athletics, Kathi Wieskamp. Kathi, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Kathi, athletics is really an extension of our academic offering to students. What role does athletics play in educating students?
Well, athletics is actually the extension outside of the classroom. Those extracurricular opportunities really connect kids to school, gives them a group to belong to. Obviously, there's the healthy benefits of, again, being active and participating. But I think sometimes we think about those only, but there's a lot of positive connections there too. And when we look at it, they leave school, or those experiences, not only just with skills in a sport or an activity, but they leave that experience with a lot of life skills. And kind of our focus has been that we talk about 4 pillars. One of those is academic achievements. Kids that are participating are doing really well academically. Part of it is they have to maintain grades and stay on track to do so, to be able to participate. And that's a lot of positive relationships that are built between coaches and players that are making sure and encouraging and helping them stay where they need to. And to be honest, LPS, as we kind of track that data there, we see the positive things that are happening academically. We've seen that we've had around that 97 to 99% of our people that are involved in those graduating from high school. And so we know that there's connections there and there's correlations between those two. But again, what are the positive things that come out of that too? Is skill development. And we're not just talking athletic skills, we're talking about life skills, things that they're going to use well beyond their time when they're involved in the athletic world or activities. And so, you talk about, again, being part of a team and, making those commitments and all that's involved with that, having different roles on a team, or leadership and loyalty. And again, all those are part of the skills that emotionally, physically, mentally that come out of participating in athletics. So I think, again, what does athletics do for our students? It really extends their learning and growth opportunities.
Our board member, Dr. Rauner, has talked about that quite a bit, and I'm glad that you mentioned the data, but he's got quite a bit of data that he will point to that ties increases in student achievement with additional PE minutes, for example. Mm-hmm. And we know that our parents think that athletics can be very important as well. Every once in a while, we get an email from a parent saying that their son or daughter might not have stayed in school if it weren't for their ability to participate on the sports team. So very important to families. Last year, we had to abruptly end our spring season, and we worked with the health department to implement safety protocols that allowed our students to participate. Some thought we wouldn't even make it through our fall season, and we successfully navigated all of our sports seasons. So good job. What are some of the safety protocols we put into place this last year to reduce the risk of spread?
Well, again, we are very fortunate to work with the health department and partner with them alongside, but also, again, a huge shout out to our athletic directors, the coaches, and the kids. We have pages, honestly, of protocols as we all did going into this year, but some of the obvious ones were, again, the checking of our signs and symptoms. We didn't want kids coming, to participate, which again is really important to them. We know that, but we couldn't have them there if they, again, were showing those signs and symptoms. Obviously, face covering, hand washing, mm-hmm. disinfecting, those definitely were key factors. And also, again, following our contact tracing and our quarantine practices. I think that really helped us mitigate any spreads. We didn't see those spreads occurring within our programs. But again, it goes a lot to the protocols that we had. Our practices were restructured. Our coaches had to do practices in a different manner than they have in the past, very thoughtful and intentional. And whether it be grouping their athletes into smaller groups, whether it was changing their structure of how their practices went, even little things like individual water bottles and how they managed, towels and disinfecting of equipment and those kind of things. And it also went into our events. I mean, the hardest thing for us was, again, the attendance protocols that we had, where we had limitations on attendance. That was hard for us as a district to say, people couldn't come. We know that was hard on families too, that limited those attendance, because again, these kids are working very hard, and we would love to show off the work that they're doing and to value the things that they're doing there. But that was one of the things that we had to do with our events, and even just thinking from, again, our event workers, how did we keep them safe, to the people that were attending and our athletes and the other communities and teams that were coming to. So we did a lot of the protocols, again, as far as disinfecting and those type of things. We also did some restructuring of those events to de-densify. For example, we have some tournaments that were very large, and so we didn't want to lose any opportunities or not have some of those teams participate. So we changed the formats to allow them to all still continue to play and get the same amount of opportunities, but it just looked different. And there's some really positive things that came out of that, and we'll probably keep some of those kind of things too. But we looked at even transportation and how we facilitated that, just like our district looking to transport kids and in those confined spaces, meals, those kind of things. But each season we took some general protocols that we applied to all of them, but then we looked at each sport, and what applied there. And so each of those kind of had specific things that they'd use to facilitate their programs and keep our kids safe, but keep them playing. And we're thrilled that we had the opportunity to still continue to provide all those opportunities. A lot of extra work. It was worth it for our kids, mentally, physically, emotionally. And we're so thrilled that we were able to do that for them.
As in the classrooms as well, I know one of the things that we're looking at is of the new protocols that we introduced this last year. Even as the world starts to normalize, what are we going to continue to do? What are we going to keep? And so I'm glad that those conversations are continuing. But the fact that the school year is over does not mean that the activities and training are going to stop. How are we proceeding with our athletic camps and conditioning during the summer months?
Yeah, you're right. We just shift into a new season. This is kind of our summer season of training. And this is a great opportunity for kids to continue to have additional teaching and training. And so we've just continued on with the protocols and have adjusted just as we have in our schools through the summer. So we're continuing on with those. We've got camps and clinics that have already started for the various sports at our different schools. If you go onto our website and go onto the athletic page, each of the high schools list all the camps that they have offered. People can still sign up and continue. But again, those are sports specific camps that are going to be going on through June and July for kids ages 3rd through 12th grade. And so people can sign up and attend those. So we'll continue moving forward with those protocols that are necessary to still be in place. And again, the appropriate masking protocols or face covering protocols for those vaccinated, not vaccinated, and ages and so forth. In addition to that, we have our sports performance training, and we are very lucky as a district that we have 2 sports performance coaches. These 2 gentlemen, Jake Fincham and Matt Birch, have done a tremendous job. They were key factors last summer trying to create opportunities for kids to still stay connected, be physically active, even while we're out of school and they weren't making contact. And so they created last summer a program that was online that they could get on, and they could get on their coaches. So it was a Zoom training session. And again, people still could stay connected, which was really important. And they were the first programs to kind of start this summer, bringing people back into our buildings and getting things going safely, and again, initiating some of these safety protocols. So they've been tremendous. In the summer, we're going strong, where we've got buildings that I'll be having sessions all day long throughout the day, where there's weight training, conditioning that's available for all kids and all genders and all programs. And they've organized that and we have, again, 2 quality trainers that, again, have master's degrees and have certifications. So we are very fortunate that this summer our kids are getting in those opportunities, having opportunities to be trained by excellent staffing, and again, prepare themselves and just improve. And the key thing is it's about safety and protocols too, as far as making sure that we're doing all those
Sure.
all along as well.
Fantastic. So a lot of opportunities for our kids over the summer. Thinking back over the year, give us a recap of how things went, how our teams did. Did we get any state championships?
Absolutely. First of all, as you mentioned, we started out where we were worried how many games or activities we'd even get to participate in. And as I'm on some national groups and organizations, some states had none. So I think the first accomplishment was that we not only got our seasons, but we completed every season with a state championship. And for LPS, we represented ourselves very well. And in every sports program that we offer, we had teams or individuals in those state championships. We finished the year with 3 state championships. East girls cross country were champions, and then Southwest boys tennis and their boys swimming teams were champions. So we did very well. We had 5 teams that were runner-up throughout the year, so runner-up champions. And then we had several individuals who obviously in the individual sports had individual state championships. So we not only had a year where we made it through, and we excelled even during this challenging year.
I think one of the neatest things that we've done over the last couple of years was when we added unified bowling. This year we added unified track. Talk about that program and its benefits.
Well, it was supposed to be able to start last spring, and we were all excited for it. And then obviously COVID hit and we didn't have the opportunity. So this spring, there was a lot of pent up energy and excitement about getting it going. And it did not disappoint, let me tell you. The unified programs are such a thrill to participate in. And I would highly recommend everyone to go out and see what's happening. Unified programs, just again to remind people, is taking students with and without intellectual disabilities and partnering them. So they are joining together, and it really is creating a social inclusion situation where they are mentors and friends. And let me tell you, the friendships that have developed out of this and the growth and development of both the students with intellectual disabilities as well as those who are partners is incredible. Unified Track had 3 events that were offered, and that was the long jump, the 100, and the 4x1. And let me tell you, if you need a smile on your face, kids, sometimes they came up to that long jump line and stood there and stepped off. And then the next time we were ready, we jumped off. And the next time, I mean, it was incredible to see them grow and just to learn and develop, their skills and the pride and excitement from those opportunities. And again, it's not just touching those people who are participating, it's all those who are watching, the bus drivers who are taking them, the coaches who are working with them. And so we actually had 2 schools have participants. The NSA picked the top performers in the state to perform at the state track meet this year, and we had 2 schools with representation there. So Lincoln Southwest and North Star had kids participating, so it was a joy.
That is super neat, and I love that we are doing the unified teams. Kathi, thank you so much for spending time with us today, but also thank you so much for the work that you do for our kids each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I love what it does for our kids in our schools. And so I love the opportunity.
If you have any questions about what you've heard here today, you can ask on our Facebook page or on our website, lps.org, by clicking on the blue Contact Us button, and we will work on answering your questions on our next episode.
Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.